Everybody, how's it going? It's the Cinnamon here, Jeremy and Gabe. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars stuff related, but only one film in particular. We might be having unpopular opinions based on this movie that we're about to talk about.
I definitely have unpopular opinions.
I do as well.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. Now, this movie is apparently top four.
Top three, usually.
Or top three, depending on your opinion. What's your take on it, Gabe?
All right, so let's get into some history, right? Let's get into some history.
Yeah, history.
Growing up, I had only watched A New Hope and Empire. Those are the only two Star Wars films I watched. But I really liked both of them, and I loved the cliffhanger of Empire. So a friend of mine had Return of the Jedi on DVD, so I asked him if we could watch it. I was about 10. And already from that one viewing, I was not impressed.
Really?
Really.
First viewing, not impressed.
First viewing, as a child, I was unimpressed.
Wow. Wow.
That's because, I was
a 10-year-old boy not impressed by a Star Wars movie that was the original trilogy.
I was operating at a pretty high level of culture as a 10-year-old, okay? I mean, you can see my Dark Man poster in the background. I was up here. No, but
so you thought you were better than everybody else.
I knew it. That's
you knew
it.
Different. Oh, that's if you know it, then it's true.
Yeah, well, if you believe it, it's true. That's how faith works. I really didn't know why I didn't like it. Like I couldn't explain to you. I just knew it had something to do with the way they handled Luke and Vader. Something about that was underwhelming to me. But only now can I actually explain to you critically why I don't like it. And I still don't like it, about 3 viewings later.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you don't like it because of the dynamic between Luke and Vader. I don't like it for other reasons. So we'll get into that, but let's talk about my history. So I was 5 or 6 years old. I wasn't really much into Star Wars. I saw The Phantom Menace. I grew tired of it. After an hour and a half, I just fell asleep. I just really didn't care for the episode 1. I just fast forwarded to the Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn scene because I thought that was the coolest scene in the world. And then I didn't watch Attack of the Clones.
Good.
Until later in my youth years. I was at this person's house. I don't remember why. But they asked me, do you want to watch Star Wars? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And he's like, well, which episode do you want to watch? I only have 4 through 6. I don't have the prequels episodes. I don't have the new ones. And I was like, okay, well, let's watch 6. I just picked a random number. I was just like, let's just watch 6. Let's see what it's like. And I fell in love with this movie. I loved this movie. This movie was amazing. And that's what really got me into Star Wars. What I remember about it when I watched it first viewing was Luke and Vader's relationship, their dynamic. I still to this day think that their dynamic was just impeccable. I think that pretty much what makes the movie not awful, god awful. And I really liked Luke as a Jedi and Han. That's pretty much what I remember. The beginning part of the scene where they escape Jabba the Hutt's lair. Along with all the creatures and stuff. And then the battle fight on the ships with the horrible green screen. And then Luke and Vader's relationship after they, I guess, combined forces with the Ewoks, the rebels. And yes. I loved it throughout. And of course, I watched 5 and 4 and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith later on. And I have my opinions about those movies too. But to this day, there are only 4 Star Wars movies that I respect. Episode 4, 5, 3, and Rogue One.
So you would put 3 over Return of the Jedi?
Yes, I would.
I would agree. I agree.
I would put Episode 3 over Return of the Jedi. And actually, my opinions changed with Return of the Jedi only recently. So I didn't really rewatch the movie as much as I watched the other movies because I thought, it's good. It's when they won. It's when he beats Darth Vader and Darth Vader turns good and Darth Sidious gets he gets destroyed. Great. I don't want to watch. I want to watch something more tension filled. Okay. And then I saw a video by the Cosmonaut Variety Hour. Shout out to him.
Yes. Yeah.
And he has a lot of hot takes on movies, per se. I still don't agree with him talking about how bad Spider-Man 1 and 2 are. But he talks about how Return of the Jedi is awful. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it, see what he has to say. And he says a lot of things that I was just kind of just taken aback by, like, why does he think that the actors look so bored? Why does he think that the lines are like precursors to George Lucas's writings of the prequels?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna watch it again. I want to watch it again and see why he thinks this way. And I'm not saying I'm a complete agreement with him, but he does have a point. The actors completely sound bored in this movie. They look bored. They feel bored. They feel like they just want to just stick this movie in theaters. No effort, none done. And just the first 20 minutes of this movie are one of the worst plot writings I've ever seen in a movie I ever made. It's just, especially with a movie of this caliber, the first 20 minutes are just a mess, complete mess.
Yeah, so let me be clear here. When I say that the Luke Vader dynamic, that I didn't like it. I mean, I like it on paper, obviously.
Mm.
What hurt it was the execution regarding Mark Hamill's performance and just the direction they took Luke Skywalker in. Because by making him a Jedi, they basically render him, a very emotionless, very stoic, and just all around. I feel like they scrubbed off all of the interesting traits about Luke Skywalker in this movie. So you skip him becoming that Jedi Knight, like from Empire. You cut 3 years later. He's already completed the training. He's now a badass Jedi Knight. Let's watch him finally have some of those cool action scenes that I'm sure fans were waiting for, to see him finally, start going to town on people with that lightsaber. But the character, I lost touch with the character because of that. So I actually do like a handful of scenes with him and Vader later on. But as someone who was watching Return of the Jedi, because I was so excited by the cliffhanger of Empire, that's what I knew disappointed me. But there's a lot to get into, the movie. That's just what stuck out to me.
Would the answer be because he trained and he became he trained on the whole Jedi code and he became a Jedi under Yoda, where Yoda is all about keeping your emotions in check? Would you say that maybe he used the Jedi training and that changed him as a person with regards to his emotions?
It definitely did. That's the in-story reason why he's changed. I think the direction to start the movie off like that with him in this state, it just detached to me, because Luke Skywalker was our kind of our surrogate. He was our everyman into this world, and we want to see him rise to the challenge, right? This is all about the hero's journey. That should have been the end of his arc in this movie, if he were to become that, ultimate Jedi warrior. But when we see him, he's already, it's kind of like the problem.
You wanted to see him become a Jedi after Empire Strikes Back, but directly after. Is that what you wanted to see?
Yeah, I wanted to see him resume the training. I just didn't want to see him lose his humanity as a character.
Okay. So you didn't like the fact that he resumed his training off screen?
Yeah, I don't like that they filled in those gaps off screen.
Okay.
I mean, like you said, they felt the need to show us Han's rescue. Like, we needed to see that, but we can skip over the rest of Luke's training, and now he can be basically a completely different character.
Can we talk about Han's rescue?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I guess they've made this sort of plan for entertainment value, entertainment purposes. The droids that are being so-and-so captured by the bounty hunter, who turns out to be Leia, they don't save Han. Leia tries to sneak in. She doesn't save Han. And then Lando appears out of nowhere. I didn't know he was along with them for the ride. And he's not able to save Han. And so then Leia becomes enslaved in a bikini. You know what? I think I liked this movie when I was little because I was growing hormones as a kid, and seeing Leia in a bikini just completely overshadowed my critique for this movie when I was little. So I probably disregarded the critique.
I have a lot of thoughts about that bikini.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So her being slave Leia to Jabba the Hutt is fine, whatever. But like, then I'm thinking they don't really dissect R2-D2. They don't really try to like disembody his machinery. And then they find the green lightsaber in there. Like, I don't know. And then Luke doesn't really do much to try and save them. He gets captured too, with maybe a little force pull there, or force push there, or a Jedi mind trick, a small Jedi mind trick, which doesn't work on Jabba the Hutt to begin with. And then R2-D2 does this sort of Deus Ex Machina thing where he shoots the green lightsaber in the air as they're being walked literally the plank.
Got out of the machine.
Yeah, out of the machine, which they could have just disembodied. They could have, like, they disembodied, well, they didn't disembody 3PO in this episode. They did it in episode 5, but different people, of course, but still, like, they could have done the same thing. They could have traded places. Maybe R2-D2 gets disembodied, and then 3PO finds a way to try to fix them back together, or Chewie does, or whatever. It just seems so convenient. Like, everything in this, every part of the scene seems so convenient for the protagonists in this movie. In the first 20 minutes, too.
Yeah, it's sloppy writing.
Very
It
sloppy.
is sloppy writing.
Very, very sloppy.
And it's not aided by the performances. Mark Hamill is doing what he was asked to do. So it's not like I can blame him. Actually, I just realized this. He completely reminds me of the acting in the prequels. The way the Jedi's acted in the prequels.
Again,
yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm following you on the way that he's acting. It just seems like all the Jedi in the prequels acted the same way for a reason, because they were
I mean, because they're stoic and emotionless, and that's how he's acting. So this is like a progenitor to that.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense because Yoda.
Whatever. So I didn't like it in the prequels. I guess really love it.
It's fine if you don't like it, but I buy it. And that's what matters.
All right, it's not a problem for you. It doesn't stick out to you, and that's fine. It just stuck out to me.
Okay, yeah. We all have different opinions on the criticisms.
Yeah, but I think we can both agree that Harrison Ford did not want to be in this movie.
Yeah, he was so bored in this movie. His interaction with Lando after they get on the main fleet with Admiral Akbar, like, they're fine apparently. Like, Han was betrayed by Lando in the 5th episode, and that's all he remembers, that Lando is a betraying little fuckhead, okay? And the first thing he says, and when he sees him, is like, "Oh, hey, man, how's it going? Hey, we're good. Everything's
because
fine.
Everybody's fine in this movie.
Everything's fine. I don't care that you almost got me killed. I don't care. Everything's fine. I'm not questioning why you're here."
The problem I have, and all of the symptoms, all the problems point to this one big problem. It feels like a kid's movie that doesn't really take anything terribly seriously, except maybe some of the Vader stuff towards the end.
The Vader, Insidious, and Luke is pretty much why I like some of this movie.
Yeah. Problem is, it's at the very end.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Either you skip the movie or you just wait through it, which to me is a chore.
Yeah. And we haven't talked about the Ewoks, and everyone thinks that this movie is the least favorite of the 3 because of just the Ewoks. Everything else is great, apparently.
No, it's what they represent. It's what the Ewoks represent. You were watching George Lucas sell out on screen. That was a marketing
ploy. A sellout. He definitely sells. He sold out in this movie completely.
Yeah.
Back then, people thought this is as far as he could go in terms of selling out, and then the prequels happened. But
George Lucas, man,
this is a precursor to the prequels.
Exactly. It's funny because everything people don't like about the prequels, it's in here. It is.
It's layered.
The performances are boring. I guess you don't have any of that weird like political espionage stuff going on. It's pretty simple, which I don't even know if that makes it better. To me,
it's there. It's fine. The political stuff I think is fine. If it was written better, if we're talking about the prequels, then it probably would have been less distracting or less boring from most audiences. But yeah, even though this movie doesn't have any politics in it, it's still boring, and it still feels like you're not engaged with the characters as you thought, as you were engaged with them in previous movies. I think that this movie is worshipped very highly is because of nostalgia from the other movies. Like, you see the same characters, they were in the other movies, and they were great. They had great character development and great stories together.
Great chemistry.
You got this movie, and they're still in this movie, and they're like, "Oh my God, they're in this movie! It's awesome!" And I don't care what they're saying. I don't care how they're feeling inside. They don't feel like themselves at all from the past movies.
I didn't even realize that Harrison Ford was bad in this movie until
he was so bad.
Yeah, two watchings ago. It was dumb. It was passionless. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing is, it comes after Empire, the most thrilling, the most emotionally charged of the entire saga to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, still.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was given like the greatest cliffhanger in history, and this is what they did with it. So,
sadly,
this movie is definitely riding the wave of the original trilogy, like, no doubt.
Can I also say another hot take?
Yeah.
The Emperor is actually stupid.
He's pretty stupid.
He's actually really stupid. He sends the rebels to Endor, and he's like, I told the rebels to go to this Endor to find the shield generator. And I'm like, well, you could have sent them to another planet, maybe as a decoy or something. You know, not send them to the actual place where they have a chance to destroy the generator to your Death Star. I'm not going to bitch about them remaking the Death Star and putting the arc reactor in a different area.
I will.
I'm not going to bitch about that because, again, Rogue One cleans it up, which is why I like Rogue One so much, is that they only have the plans to make relatively the same Death Star because one person gave it to them. That's the only plans they have. And it took them 30 years to come up with a Death Star. And so they're like, well, we have the same plans. Let's rebuild the same thing, and hopefully this won't repeat history. So,
I'm not going to give him a pass on the Death Star. I got to be honest. Even if Rogue One does its best to make excuses, like to apologize for it, you know, it's still lazy. It's still lazy storytelling.
They could have just done without the Death Star like they did in Empire Strikes Back, but
right.
I mean,
hey,
I buy it. It's not the best thing. They could have done a lot better, but I don't think it's the most disappointing thing in the movie.
No, if it were an otherwise good movie, I would forgive it. But it's like in an already badly written movie that stands out. George Lucas, he did not write much of Empire, or at least he didn't like.
He didn't.
He didn't, but he wrote a lot of this.
He definitely wrote a lot of this.
Yeah,
a lot of this.
You know,
have you seen pitch meetings?
Yes,
on Screen Rant. I've been like on the hook. I've been hooked on pitch meetings for the past 2 months. I saw the pitch meeting for this one, and Ryan George calls the Ewoks packets of merchandise.
All right, shout out to pitch meetings. Give us a shout out now. That's how it works. I want my shout out.
Fair enough.
So let me go ahead and actually say some of the things I do like, because
let's get to that.
there are
some good things. Yes.
I do think the scenes with Luke and Vader towards the end are pretty well done. That's like what I was. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for out of this movie. It's a little bit too little, too late, but it's there. I appreciate it. You can tell the director of this film had not done anything major before, because so the filmmaking is just a little dry. It's like not really there. Like, just looking at some of the special effects alone, it's like he had not done something to this level, because some of the effects are pretty bad in this movie. Would you agree?
I mean, compared to the previous episodes, episode 5 has the best effects out of the trilogy. Episode 4 seems a little more of a PS2 game to me, with all the space battles, and of course the lightsaber fights feels like two old men kicking each other with a cane.
Okay.
which is fine. I mean, it's outdated. It's fine. It's the 70s. I'm okay with that. With the lightsaber battle with this one, I think was pretty well done. I like the lightsaber battle in the Return of the Jedi. The space battle, this one, it's fine. It looks a little outdated with special effects. I thought they would up the ante, but I think it was fine. It wasn't a glaring factor into enjoyment out of this movie.
It just took me out of it a few times because, I mean, no previous Star Wars movie couldn't just do a simple green screen effect, right? Like,
yeah,
it just reeks
I see where you're coming from. I just don't feel like it's a big factor in my opinion.
Again, if the story were better, I probably wouldn't even care. But you start noticing that.
Yeah, storytelling triumphs over mostly everything.
Storytelling is important.
I'm gonna say that the scenes with Darth Vader and Sidious are pretty well done. When he's on screen, when Vader's on screen, I think it brings me back to good storytelling and good filmmaking. I really enjoyed Vader being on screen in nearly every scene in this movie, especially with Luke. Their back and forth, their relationship together. Darth Sidious. Ian McDermott does a great job. He does an amazing job playing Darth Sidious. Perfect casting. I would say perfect casting for the character. It's just a wonderful choice, and with what he has, he does his best, his absolute best. You don't really get any backstory from him either. I mean, of course, until the prequels, of course, but like back then, you didn't really have any backstory to who this guy really was.
No, he was just
an evil guy, but he played it really, really well. And so you had to focus on Darth Vader and his character development, and Luke and his character development. So it was a nice trio of characters.
Sure.
When they were interacting with each other, they were interacting together, especially towards the end of the movie.
But this is where the movie is smarter than the sequels, because they didn't bring out the Emperor until they were ready to use him. Like, they didn't shove him into episode 4 just to say, hey, there's a mysterious guy who's behind the whole operation here. But you know what? They didn't make you wonder, who is this guy, only to just kill him off for no real reason in the next episode. So
the scene with the original Star Wars scene when Vader sees Luke getting electrocuted by Sidious, and he just sits there and doesn't say anything. You can tell what he's thinking. The original scene, not the Blu-ray, not the edited cut or the extended version, okay, where he does the whole no bullshit, okay? The original scene, that is beautiful. That is a powerful scene.
Very well done.
Yeah, very well done.
And then the ensuing scene where Luke has a real heart-to-heart with his father.
The mask. Yep.
Yeah. Even though the guy playing Vader looks like, Billy Joel with the harmonica on. Other than that, it's a really good scene.
Billy Joel with a hangover playing on the harmonica.
So obviously that stuff is pretty good, and I believe so. The guy who wrote Episode 5, Lawrence Kasdan, I think he was also writing this. No, there are a bunch of changes he made. Like, I think Han Solo was supposed to die.
Maybe that's why Harrison Ford didn't want to be in the movie.
I am pretty sure of it, and I think that's why in the next movie he was like, "You have to kill me off. Please kill me off, either on screen or in real life, because I'm not being in." Well, he came back for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, well, that doesn't really count. He's just a what do you call it?
Force ghost?
No, he's not a Force ghost. Okay,
no,
he doesn't. He's a hallucination. He's Ben Solo's hallucination, because basically they had the same scene but a positive outcome instead of a negative outcome from The Force Awakens.
Yeah. By the way, that is the only scene I liked in Rise of Skywalker. If we're getting into hot takes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a clear indication that no one really enjoys The Rise of Skywalker.
I guess it feels like it came out forever ago, but really it just came out in December.
I'm just gonna say it never existed.
Yep.
I kind of, in a perfect world, I kind of wish that Colin Trevorrow was able to make his movie instead of them showing in JJ to do some damage control. But we're not getting into Rise of Skywalker.
Not yet.
Not
That's
yet.
a different podcast.
Different podcast. We're gonna continue on with the Return of the Jedi. I mean, we haven't talked about the Ewoks, but
I mean, there's just nothing to say.
there's
other
nothing
than,
to say about them.
Yeah.
I mean, in a different setting, they're cute, they're adorable, but they really shouldn't be in Star Wars, and they really shouldn't have a huge advantage over the stormtroopers.
They shouldn't be taking. They shouldn't be helping in the battle against the Death Star. Against the Emperor.
They shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
As bad as the stormtroopers are in terms of accuracy and precision, they are much better suited to win against a bunch of.
It's like the Ewoks
small
don't even
Care
have
Bears.
The Ewoks don't even have real weapons. They have rocks.
They
They throw rocks.
and fucking slingshots and catapults.
Because even by just the third episode, the stormtroopers were a joke. No hiding.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about the Galactic Republic or Galactic Empire, is that they really need to work on their military training.
You think fascists would have a better military, but I guess
think
not.
so. Yeah.
Weird.
You think they learned from a fascist leader that is revered as the most deadliest leader in the world?
Yeah. Oh, do you know that you can see Carrie Fisher's coke nail in this movie?
Really? Is there a picture?
Yes. Yeah, there's a picture. Just look it up. Yeah, it's
so she was snorting coke during takes?
Well, in between takes.
In between takes.
Maybe that's how they got her back on set. I don't know.
Oh yeah, when they're in Endor and she's got her hand on Han's shoulder. So it's on her index finger.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Boba Fett. How they deal with him.
Well, it was very forgettable. That's why I forgot to talk about it.
That's why you forgot it.
I believe that he is alive. I believe that they will put him in season 2 of The Mandalorian. I just hope they do.
I'm shocked they didn't put him in the sequels. I'm really shocked.
Well, he'd be like 60 or 70.
Oh, do they care about that? Does J.J. Abrams care about that? I don't think so. They brought back Palpatine.
Well, Palpatine's a powerful Sith, so
I'm just saying, I don't think
he's got pathways to many abilities. Some consider to be unnatural. So
still better than Return of the Jedi.
Boba Fett is a bounty hunter with no force powers.
I know, but
although he's badass, but he's a.
I mean, if you're saying, oh, they'll bring him back in the Mandalorian, they might as well bring him back in one of the movies.
They should. I mean, it's post Return of the Jedi. They should.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool. I love the Mandalorian TV show, so I'm be glad to have him back. But yeah, anything else we need to discuss about this stink pile of movie?
This it's weird. Like, there's really not much to talk about it. Like, you can talk about the other two movies for hours, like 4 and 5.
Yeah, because you can talk about it and go in depth with the analysis, but there really feels like there's no analysis in this movie. I like the ending. It's sweet.
Do you like it more with Hayden Christensen?
I grew up in the 2000s, so I didn't really care or matter to, it didn't matter to me whether it was the original guy playing Vader or whether it was Hayden Christensen. Although it's stupid that Hayden Christensen is in there due to time differences. But I guess George Lucas wanted to put that there because Hayden Christensen turned to the dark side when he was young. As a late 20s
That's the
Jedi.
excuse he gave. I think that George Lucas was trying to justify the prequels more, and he was trying to make them even more connected to the original trilogy.
Well, he didn't have to do a thing, and look what it did. Now they're more justified.
It's funny how that works out.
Didn't have to do a thing. All he did was sell his company for $4.6 billion. So,
and he sat back and he just watched. He
watched the world crumble.
Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith stock rise up.
He just watched the world burn.
Yep. Oh, dude, we haven't even talked about the twist with Leia. We didn't even talk about that.
Well, they didn't really explore her Jedi powers. She was Force sensitive. I mean,
I
that's
guess.
no doubt about that because she sensed Luke hanging on a railing in Cloud City. So
But
she
would
did
you
have Force
agree?
powers.
I don't know. Would
I
you?
did like in Rise of Skywalker. I did like the fact that they had footage of Luke and Leia training as Jedi's. I did like that. I thought that was
Okay.
cool. It wasn't. It was nostalgic, but it was cool because I really wanted us to see it, whether it be a flashback or footage, whatever. It did prove justification to her Force powers, but we never truly got to see her become a Jedi.
That was disappointing. Obviously,
Yeah.
they couldn't really follow up on that opportunity in the sequels.
But
see, I just don't think it's a well done twist in this movie, though. Like, if I were an audience member in 1983 watching it, I would not buy it.
that she's a Jedi, or is that she's
That she's Luke's sister.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah. If I was my age in 1983, thinking that Leia has got this weird love triangle between Han and Luke, and Leia kissed Luke just to prove a point to Han, and then I find out that they're actually related. Yeah, it doesn't really sit well with me.
I'm not even thinking about that. Just
weird.
like
it's a bit incesty.
The circumstances that brought them together, right, in A New Hope, they were so random. Just what are the chances that Luke's father is the most evil man in the galaxy, and that his sister is the person leading the rebellion against their father? Sure,
They could have just been friends, and then Leia would have never actually had a Force powers or anything like that.
I think they were just trying to recreate the magic from the twist in Empire. You know, the family relations twist. Why not?
I don't know. I think George Lucas had already had this planned, because in Empire Strikes Back, when Yoda says there is another,
Well,
it was
in
obvious
Empire
that
Strikes Back,
yeah,
they make out hard. Like
they don't make out hard. She sticks her lips into his lips and she just kisses him for 3 seconds, and she pauses.
Oh, isn't
She's
there
grabs his head and does this.
Yeah. Isn't there a deleted scene where there's a deleted scene where they flirt or something.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. The sexual tension is there.
I don't want to see it.
I'm not making it up. It's there. It's been observed. It's been observed.
No. I'm good.
You're good?
I want to have the belief that they never had any sexual tension. So, I'm good.
Keep thinking that, Jeremy.
Please don't
believe
kill
it,
my
and you can make it happen.
Please don't. Please.
Well, I don't have to ruin your childhood because Return of the Jedi did it for you.
Oh, I liked it when I was a kid. I just
But
didn't
now
really
you don't
analyze it deeply because I was so torn between Luke being this amazing Jedi and Vader and Sidious, and then Leia in a slave outfit. You know, I was just so torn between those things in the movie. I really disregarded the flaws.
Then why would you put this over Revenge of the Sith?
No, I said I put.
No, I'm sorry. Why would you put Revenge of the Sith over this? My bad.
Because there's more tension, and there's, I don't know. It just seems more interesting. Revenge of the Sith is much more watchable in my mind, especially the Clone Wars. Justifying the movie too. If you saw the last season of the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan and Anakin have more of a camaraderie together.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy Palpatine and Anakin's scenes together. I do a lot, and especially the scene where they're in their opera place or whatever.
That opera place.
About,
yeah,
Plagueis
the Wise.
saving people from death, and that iconic line that is repeated in Rise of Skywalker. I like Obi-Wan's mission in Utapau with Grievous. I think that's very fun, enjoyable.
I have mixed feelings on that.
I like when movies tend to go have this really positive high going. It just goes downhill immediately, like a big hard fall after riding high. I explained that horribly, but yeah, you know what I mean. Whenever because it has this adventurous tone. Happens. Yeah, everything seems great and fine, and you have foreshadowings of maybe they do get Palpatine, and Padme does survive her birth, and Luke and Leia actually train under their father, and and Anakin doesn't turn to the dark side and stuff. And then when you see it all crumbling down, it's so just horrific. I don't know. It just, despite Anakin's turn to being Darth Vader and the reasoning behind it, there's really no reasoning as to why he turns into Darth Vader. He just wants to save Padme. Despite that, everything else, how the Jedi Order falls, the Republic falls into the hands of Darth Sidious, is just so powerful to me. It's so breathtaking. It's hard to watch still. I watch it. I'm just like, I sometimes skip the bad parts and I go right into the battle with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Really?
Yeah. It's saddening to me. And Return of the Jedi just has a very lighter tone, and there's no tension except towards the end a little bit. Also, speaking of tone, there's a lot of disjointed tonalities in Return of the Jedi. You don't really know what it wants to be. You have this really light tone, then it goes back to dark, and have this light tone, then it goes back to dark. In Revenge of the Sith, you have like a consistent tone that has this like exponential growth into where you think it's going to go, and then it just hits you on the back side.
Yeah, it's just clever, right? When the tone changes, it's for a reason. It's like for a purpose.
Yeah,
it's a story, and that's why I like it. I like that it both has the swashbuckling elements, right, of the original trilogy. I think the action scenes are really well done.
First 20 minutes of this movie are awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy it just on an entertainment level, but like it does a good job of like foreshadowing where it's going to go. Like obviously the part where, do it, Plagueis Palpatine, can't speak, gets Anakin to kill Count Dracula. Christopher Lee played Dracula. Couldn't remember his name.
Also, Revenge of the Sith, if one thing didn't happen, and it went either the Republic way or the Separatist way, then this movie would have been a completely different story. In Return of the Jedi, if one thing didn't happen, then I feel like it would be brushed over and it would still turn out the way that it ended.
Yeah.
It's a very careful movie, the Revenge of the Sith. It's very careful. It's cautious.
Yeah. That's not to say I think it's perfectly written. Like,
oh no, there's some script issues, especially scenes with Padme and Anakin. CGI is a bit off sometimes here and there. I skip the scenes when Anakin and Padme are glossing over each other.
Sure. I will also say this: Revenge of the Sith is the only third of a trilogy in Star Wars that I like. That's where we now have had 3 trilogies.
I agree.
That's the only one I like.
Point.
That's very odd.
Fair point.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think just the stakes of Revenge of the Sith
much higher.
Like the story is not that George Lucas does it well all the time, but when he does do it well, it's so much more impactful than stuff in Return of the Jedi. Because it's a very compelling story to watch a great man fall to the dark side of anything. In this case, of course, the Force. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not to say that I like the movie better because of the ending and like how it ends. It's just written better. It's just a better written movie.
Yeah, watching the arc
well-paced, well written. There's a lot more acting, like better acting in Revenge of the Sith than Return of the Jedi.
Ewan McGregor. Ewan
McGregor does a great job. He does a great job in all 3 movies, but this is his best movie as Obi-Wan.
This is the only movie where the part was as good or matched to his acting. I personally like Hayden Christensen. I think I seriously, I think that dude does not get his fair due. Let me tell you this: when he doesn't have to say anything,
no, because I'm so in love with you.
When he doesn't have to deal with the dialogue, I think he does a pretty good job. You like the scene where he's like staring at the window, and Padme is also she's staring at the window.
I'm a big fan of visual storytelling. Yes.
Yes. So and stuff like that, he's good.
Yes, and the music is like 2 notes. It's like this.
It's like that ambience.
This woman is like singing very faintly in 1 note, and then she goes down a half step. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's very endearing. It's also very sad at the same time. So we both agree that Revenge of the Sith is better than Return of the Jedi, hands down. And I think that if you're watching this video and you have immediate disagreements of our opinions, I do instruct you. We both instruct you to go rewatch Return of the Jedi with the critiques that we've listed, and just kind of focus on those. Okay? Of course, develop your own opinion, or keep the same ones, or don't watch it at all, and just have a false belief that this movie is great. Or watch it and tell us what you think if you come across this video. I probably would give this movie a 5 out of 10.
I'll give it a 5. First, I would have said a 4, but there's good stuff at the end.
There's good stuff.
So I'll give it a 5.
5, yeah.
It's not the worst. Not the worst in the franchise either. Like, obviously, it's better.
That
than
goes
Phantom
to
Menace
Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Episode 9.
Or, I mean, any of the sequel. I like them more than the sequels. Still,
Episode 9 had made me come around to sort of appreciate Episode 8 a little more.
Yeah, I can see that. I felt bad for Rian Johnson watching his movie just get spit on.
Yeah. I don't really think J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson are friends.
You don't think they hang out?
I don't think they go golfing together or have a drink. I just don't think. With that in their minds right now, I just don't think that they see eye to eye.
Well, they shouldn't be going golfing because they need to practice social distancing.
Is that a joke?
It was my attempt at a joke.
I appreciate the effort, but I don't think you'll get a laugh.
No.
Yeah.
How about if you laughed? No. All right. Well.
Okay. Well, I think that concludes this video.
This was a good time. This was a good fun time.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Gabe.
And this is Cinnamon, signing out.